This year, we are coming to the close of 2020. Happy holidays, happy new year, and I thought I would do a best and worst of 2020 art. Wait, what year is it? We are coming to the close of 2021. This is the year review of what I've made. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope it gives you a chance to reflect on your own year and things you've made, and let's dive right in. If you want to support this channel, there's sales at robinsealark.com where you can buy original artwork. You can also pre-order my oil painting book there, Oil Painting Every Day, or you can follow me on my social media accounts at robinsealark, including on Patreon. Thank you. Getting ready for this video, I got together a bunch of my art from 2021. I'm gonna give you guys a rundown now, and you can tell me what your thoughts are on the different phases and groups of work that I made. I got to update the end of my 2020 gallery on my website, prepping for this video, and saw kind of how 2020 ended and bridged into 2021. A little bit of abstract work, a little bit of text art, and that was kind of new for me. This was a piece that I finished off 2020 with, and it bridged me into some other things, including sketchbook works like this. I was starting to think a lot about messages in my artwork, and I liked certain illustrators, Lisa Congdon, Andy J. Pizza, and I wanted to think how I could integrate text and ideas into my work. Listen to your inner voice, self-empowerment things. I was listening to Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, so I was making these inspirational artist messages. This was something to help motivate me. It says, do whatever gets you up. Think less, do more, make music, make art, goals, impress yourself, make beautiful magic always for everyone. I made this one thinking about my niece. This one was probably my favorite text art I did of the year. No art blocks allowed, just simple. I actually made that one after listening to the artist Sway. I got into more mixed media this year. Dream slowly. I mean, maybe you relate to this. Sometimes your creative ambitions can be so big that you strangle yourself a little bit with the pressure. Do you relate to that? I don't know, some people thought it was a stressful year. Just saying. A little I once was lost collage. I like this piece. It's busy. Okay, these collage pieces and text pieces, how do you feel about them in terms of the art rankings? I think these were really good for me in terms of breaking some of my standards for myself and experimenting and joy that I got out of making these. So in that way, I'm gonna say they were a real positive experience. On the other hand, do I feel like they're some of my best work of the year? Maybe not some, not like, maybe, I don't think that they're like my fine art pieces, like my really heavy hitters, but honestly I'm pretty happy with some of them. I think the So Good Seeds is fun. It does look a little bit clownish if I'm being honest, but it's also playful and it's got good colors. Alright, what else did I make? Okay, so in line with the more abstract text stuff where I'm pushing myself to try new things, I also got kind of into abstract this year. I did a number of abstract pieces. One's actually back here. I actually really like this one. I never even put this one up for sale because I liked it so much. It looks a little bit like a seagull pooped on it, honestly, but I just think the layering is really beautiful. So this has been one of my favorite pieces I did this year, weirdly enough. Speaking of abstracts, this piece. I kind of liked it, but then I realized no one else did, and so I cut it down into different compositions, and one of them sold, which I really like. By cutting it down, I could see this area of the composition that I thought was great. Sometimes that's nice, you gotta sacrifice so you can uphold the goodies. The other half is still available on my website for sale. Nice curving, interesting patterns. I made a bunch of bigger abstract stuff in a group together. They sold progressively. There was this piece. I was really enjoying working with Sharpie and doing repetitive line drawing. I don't know, it makes your eyes do interesting things to watch the lines curve fan. This one I liked a little bit more than it actually. I used color to create almost like portals. So that was really fun. I thought that was a nice piece. It's kind of simple. Another abstract line piece. This was a large collaborative piece that I made. Our next grouping of images. Here's in the year where I did some stuff that I think is actually pretty cool that I kind of want to lean into more in the future. It's partly old ideas that I was working on again or finishing. Take some of the abstraction and the weird colors and the mixed media stuff and bring it into realism now, and I did these more surreal, figurative, and landscape works. This is a really large piece. It was like 3 or 4 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Women falling through a cosmic sky. Dancers. I made another group of dancers too in greens. This I made with layered mediums, glazes, marker. You can see the marker just swirling at the bottom of this, kind of echoing the shape of the grassy field. And then I did layers of glazing on top of it to make everything just feel really saturated. That's kind of a fun thing I've been thinking about. Color exaggeration. And then I brought a similar concept to the landscape in this piece, which I think is nice. I think this is one of my best pieces of the year. Got a good lighting on the cloud. It's kind of epic, but then it has these surreal elements with a very kindergarten-like rainbow and these stars. There's a mixture of more realistic and less realistic ones. Next, I'm going to go into a bulk of work that I was doing kind of privately offline. It was the paintings for my book that is coming out 2022, but I made a group of 15 paintings plus exercises that went into the book, so we'll look at some of the paintings from that. I'm gonna say this was one of my favorite paintings from the book. It's an exercise that we do in the beginning of the book to teach you different oil painting techniques from the glossary, and I really like the way it came out. Here's a nice piece from it. Because of supply chain issues related to COVID, they pushed the release of the book to March 2022, but it is available for pre-order, and I'll show you most of the paintings and images from it, but let the book do the rest of the talking for me. Here was one of the worst things I did. I ended up scrapping it, and I've transformed it into something new at this point. But this was a painting that I tried to make for the book, and I ended up redoing this portrait of Paul 3 times. But this was the most difficult one, and here is what it looked like at the end. I was not a super fan. Skewed, awkward, flat, that left eye is the wrong size. You can even see from step 7 to step 8, it just didn't clean up how I wanted it to, and I decided to scrap it and start over, so you don't win them all. Speaking of my tortured, awkward Paul, here's what it turned into. I covered it, I made a trompe-l'oeil painting, some illusion of 3 dimensions of layered paint. I think it came out kind of interesting. I started working on my book around last December, and I made a painting of my niece and another painting of my other niece for my mom. One came out great, and one my mom kind of gently will roast me about, so I think that would also be on the low end for 2021. This I technically made in 2020, and I am a big fan of it. I really like the way it came out. But now my other niece's portrait, from close up it looks nice, but when you zoom out, there's just something about like a little uncanny valley. It feels really like a school photo, which it is based on that. But it also kind of feels like the one side of the face is kind of pushed back and in, and the shadows just don't quite make sense. But yeah, this is one that I'm not that excited about, and I see it in my mom's dining room most weeks. The other thing my mom has roasted me about this year is my sunflower painting. It was my Keep It Simple sunflower painting video, and yeah, she roasts me for it. I might try to fix it up someday. We'll see. We'll see. In my abstract phase where I was doing realistic abstract stuff, I also made this portrait, which I'm super proud of. I think it came out really beautiful. There's a picture of it featured in my book. I made a bunch of stuff that was just random. I don't know. Portraits. A colored portrait. Here. These blueprints of me and Hoodie. My 10-minute masterpieces for a YouTube video. The last group of things that I will talk about that I made in 2021 is just landscapes, because landscapes is something always part of my work. I made a variety of stuff, some more realistic, some less realistic, some in acrylic paints, some in oils, and there's some highlights and lowlights. Some are better than others. I made a painting challenge video where I worked in complementary colors, and I made this, and this, and this. I think they're fine. They're interesting. They're cool, they're doing new things. Not my strongest work. On the other hand, made this for a video, made this cloud, made this for a video, more sketch-like landscapes. These two, this one, and then for my upcycled, trashed to art video. But of my more realistic landscapes, there were a couple that I thought turned out really well, that I liked a lot. A special moment that I had at the Delicate Arch this year. I made it in the same video as these other two night landscapes, but I think that the arch is my favorite just because of the memory and it's kind of an epic moment. But lastly, I made 4 different oil paintings of landscapes that were a bit more developed, and I really like those ones. So we had this, a scene from, I think, Silver Lake. And then for my overthinking video, we had this beach walk painting that is one of my very favorite paintings that I made this year. This is in my top paintings that I made for the year. It just came out really nicely. And at that same time, I made this painting and this painting. Out of my pieces for this year, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is the one that I probably cringe the most at on the regular. But then I also made some larger abstract / realism stuff that's really colorful, and I think would be a good direction for me to sink into as we go into 2022. Happy holidays. Thank you for being here. If you made any cool or horrible art this year, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, and I will see you around the internet. Make sure you're subscribed, like this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.